We've missed you.
I know, I'm sorry. We got the new cord. We're all set.
I think me and Cher have the same headphones now.
I've got skull candies. What do you got?
Oh, no. Mine are Pacos.
Okay.
They're a new brand. I'm product testing.
Nice. That's always fun.
Especially when I got the headphones for free.
That's the best part of product testing right there. Is it getting access to things before everyone else? No, it's the fact that you didn't pay for it.
By the way, girl, you've missed a ton.
I know, I'm sorry.
Thankfully, you're here tonight. So,
yes.
If I go off cameras, there's somebody else to keep it going besides Izzy and Patrick, because I got hit with both food poisoning and the stomach bug this week.
Oh God! I saw the tree that landed on your house too. That was really bad.
It's mostly off now.
That's good.
Robbie got up there Thursday and got it knocked down before his eye doctor's appointment. Then I took him to the eye doctor's appointment, got back here after paying bills, went to the junkyard to get a part for the car. Everything was fine. I'm only on about a little more than 24 hours of holding down the I'm about 12 hours in of actually holding real food.
What you're holding?
It was eggs and cheese.
I know.
Yeah. The family's back together for the week. We're going with it.
And I'll explain it just
Look, I either need to look closer to Patrick, or we just need to get commune in the middle of freaking nowhere. I don't care. Because Patrick's problem could easily be solved if I lived up the street. It wouldn't have cost him that much either. And I'm still angry. So, if you don't see us jump up top, it's because we're in the... You have access to that, so it's not a problem.
Yeah. Um,
Hi, Stormy.
I might be able to be there. Depends on what time and if there's still power in the store. Because the generator has to be turned on early.
Inside my own world of make-believe.
Gotcha.
Kids screaming in the cradles, profanities.
Well, we actually don't
Welcome.
have a whole lot word count wise for the show tonight.
Mm.
Welcome, welcome, welcome. Woohoo! We have a full
Well,
panel back.
welcome to the. Yep. Our missing partner in crime is back after a lovely technical issue of a mouse and a wire.
This is one of the fallbacks living out in the middle of the woods, man. The rodents will get to you.
Well, that's what you have a titty tat for.
Yes, but the chewing happened outside and the titty tat was inside because it is -12 out here.
Yes.
Well, that sounds like a you problem. I would never go where it gets that cold. No, thank you. Mm-mm.
It was a me problem. It's why my cord got chewed because it was a me problem.
I'm such an ass.
Welcome. Yes, you are an ass. Anyway.
Yes, Cash, the cable got fixed. Thanks, fuck. Going feral, missing everybody.
All right. So
I
for
think we were going feral, missing you too.
yeah, for administrative whatever, we are streaming joined chat. So with us being quote unquote live individually, stream chats are all merged. That was a fun thing that I found out about. And of course, I am blurry as fuck.
I was gonna say you're super glitchy right now.
She
We can
wasn't a
fix
second
that.
ago, and now she is.
It's like late '90s Izzy.
Why is it always me? It's always me,
I keep
blurry.
telling you. I keep telling you, it's not a real Twitch stream unless there's scuff.
Oh, I know. Okay. See, on the browser source preview, I look fine. Hmm.
Now,
I mean, we could hear you with no issue.
but my image doesn't show up, which is funny because I have my camera on.
Hmm. Okay.
Oh God, not again.
Scuff, scuff, scuff.
It's because I'm here.
No, every week we go through the same thing. Patrick can't come up. Patrick cannot do this without having some sort of issue with the camera.
Hey, if my ugly mug don't show, it's fine by me.
Oh,
But I want to
stop.
see your face when they read my prompt tonight.
Well,
What
that
in the
doesn't
hell?
work.
As a virtual camera that OBS can do.
Yep.
Maybe I need to drop and come back.
Try that.
You know, I may give my iPad a lot of grief, but I gotta admit, the camera on the front face is pretty damn good.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Unfortunately, I can't do the OBS software
Mm.
on the iPad.
doing something.
It's trying.
Doing a thing. It's trying. It's doing its best. It's doing its best.
Logitech has never failed me before, but
Don't say that. You say it, you'll jinx it.
it's a Logitech that's doing this.
Mm-hmm. Because you're jinxing it.
I look fine on the.
You look like a late 80s, early 90s video game screen right now. You look like you belong on Final Fantasy IV.
Might also be because I have entirely too many things open.
That actually could be it. If you've got a lot of stuff open on your computer, it could be bogging down your memory.
That's the first thing I do before I pop over is literally close out everything that's not needed. And then that way I can be like, okay, I'm here.
Oh, Dankeschön.
Makes me so upset.
Hmm. That's really good.
I would say try unplugging it and plugging it back in, but I don't think that's going to help us right now.
Ugh. A blah writing week. I haven't been writing. I've been editing.
I'm sorry, Nick
Um,
just brought me some food.
I've been sick all week.
I've been writing up a fucking storm. I've actually had a very productive writing week. I've working on multiple projects at once.
Well, when you ain't got nothing else to do.
Right? You give me no steady internet. I got one fucking thing to do, man.
Ugh, this just makes me so upset to have the whole stream be my picture super pixelated.
You want to try ending it and coming back and seeing if that helps, or
Yeah, we can try just resetting the whole thing.
Ooh,
Yep.
okay. I clicked there. No.
Whoa. Hi, honey.
Here we go. More scuff.
Did you just want to reset the stream?
Nope.
I don't know what you're doing. Wow, we're losing everybody one by one.
Remove that. Yes.
We can hear you, which is the most important part.
That is the most important part. There. Video capture device. Okay. Maybe. Oh.
Well, because what's funny is before we went on to Twitch itself, when it was in the backstage, you looked fine. You looked perfectly
Exactly.
fine.
No, I don't want to accidentally report. Okay.
Oh, you
Looking
look good
for
now.
far.
What did you do?
OBS virtual camera.
Ah,
Had to
that
get
works.
it set up. But it does like whopper jaw everything. That's okay. That's okay. We will figure it out. Okay. I don't know. It's just going to look weird. Okay. So
Fine.
15 minutes in. Hey, I think that's a
That's a record.
that's a record. Okay, can everybody hear me okay?
Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
Chat, can you hear me? Okay, good, good. Trisha says yes. All right. So, other housekeeping items. The fastest check. Absolutely. So, other upkeep that we got to do is it should go without saying, but as we all know, it's the internet. So, not always. All words presented by authors here belong to them. All the stories belong to them. Okay. Uh, just putting that out there. Theft uh, of someone else's work will get you kicked and banned from our stream. Period. And there is the potential for legal action. Just FYI. Okay? But beyond that, welcome to the Hold My Pen Promptcast. We are what, week 4 on Twitch?
Week 4 on here. Yep.
Wow. Yeah, we are.
All right. And as you all know here in the comments, but for you at home in the rebroadcast, if you're coming across us for the very first time, this is what we do at the Hold My Pen Promptcast. We have a master list of prompts at the end of the night. Julie over there will be rolling some dice and we're going to pick some prompts, and then the audience who is live with us here in the Twitch studio will get to vote, and majority rules. You can sign up, the link in our bio on our various social media pages for the newsletter. You get 1, then 2 welcome emails, and then we don't bug you, except every Sunday in the afternoon you will get the prompts plus the one that was voted on in your inbox. It's got the submission rules, live rules, special appearances, new releases by our prompters and our team here. So if you do have a new release that you would like to share or have featured, please let us know. Send it to the Hold My Pen Promptcast at gmail.com email address. It doesn't start with the, by the way. That's the way it sounded. And follow us on YouTube, follow us on Twitch. We do not have a TikTok for the Hold My Pen Promptcast, but you can always follow us over there, depending on how long it happens and stays around. But then you guys send in by 3 p.m. Central, adjust your times accordingly, to the Hold My Pen Promptcast email, your submissions for the week. It's a really quiet night tonight because Julie don't feel good.
Yeah.
Julie is gonna fake it till she makes it tonight. But yeah, everybody, welcome to the Hold My Pen podcast. I am Julie DeFisher, author of Destined for More, the Four Queens for Four Kings series, the Destin Chronicles, the latest released Crossroads. Been out since end of March. Uh then we have our returner. So happy to see her back. C.R. McCormick, author of the Dolan Syndicate series. Scoundrel, which was basically brought out of retirement to be written on this show, and many, many others to come. And then over in the other side, you have P.A. Power, author of the Chimera Wolf series, along with sorry, I have brain fog. You're just gonna have to go with me on this one. Uh,
Kingdom of
the
Shadows.
Chimera Wolf, the Chimera Clan, Decoding Shady Pines,
That was it.
the dark retelling of Peter Pan, which is Kingdom of Shadows, and hopefully will be released soon, depending on everything else. Jed and the Wolves of Desire, and his latest that is appearing on the Hold My Pen Promptcast, uh, Heart of Stone. And then you have my lovely co-host that has to run everything off of her computer because we're not, strategically placed. Uh,
We'll get there.
Miss Izzy Kraus, the extreme reading tracker, reader, cheer. You need a book recommendation? Go to Izzy. Uh,
Cheerleader, and no, I won't put my skirt back on. It don't fit.
don't maybe buy you another one.
Don't even think about it. And of course, aspiring author. I'm going to say aspiring because who knows if I'm ever going to get any of this stuff published. But I've got 4 works in progress myself. A Sherlockian werewolf mystery thriller, a YA adventure, think young Indiana Jones. Hmm, a whisper of fear. That's Char's book boyfriend, Sven.
Who I
Rom-
miss.
I know. A romantic thriller, suspense, and then of course Scarlet Chains, my epic fantasy that maybe someday will get done. Because of course, now I think I'm sitting at 31 books planned in that series. I know. I mean,
I turned around and told her when she said that, I'm like, oh, so you're going to come to my side.
mhm. Right now it's 9 trilogies, and the first one is the first series is a quartet. I've always been an overachiever, despite what mother said. And for those curious, this week's prompt was to use the dialogue. I'm sensing some tension.
I had so much trouble with this prompt this week. I like. There's a reason I didn't write it until literally today.
There you go. So, up first. Oh, dang it. Chapter 4 of Heart of Stone by P.A. Power, currently entitled Dunluce. I'm going to screw that one up so many times. And here we go. Swear to God, if I got a mean girl Brittany again, or Bethany, or whatever the fuck that bee's name is. Amanda opened the door and was greeted by the caretaker of Castle Dunluce. His warm smile caused her to pause, her cheeks flushing before she quickly turned away. Professor Lynn greeted him cheerfully. Hello, Scott. So nice to see you. What brings you over here? We're not scheduled to meet until tomorrow. A little birdie told me Amanda was here, and I just couldn't resist, Scott replied, grinning. I brought some books, photographs, images from a few of the rooms. Thought I might pick her brain a bit. Well, Amanda, it looks like you've got an admirer, Lynn teased, giving her a knowing smile. I trust you can find your way back to campus well enough. I've got to run. Lesson plans and one more class. With that, she grabbed her keys and badge and headed out the door. Scott set the box of materials on the kitchen table. Before he could open it, Amanda offered a polite smile and held out her hand. Scott, I really do appreciate you wanting me on this project. It's a once in a lifetime opportunity, but I'm already in hot water with the dean. How much trouble can one girl really cause? He said with a playful grin, reaching out to brush a loose strand of her strawberry blonde hair from her face. She slapped his hand away. Easy,
Good.
Tiger. Well, then. Scott chuckled, raising his hands in mock surrender. All right, all right. I'll leave you to it. Maybe give me a call later. I left my number on a note. As he turned to leave, the glow from the fireplace caught his eyes, making them shine like pools of milk chocolate. He winked before stepping out. Amanda shook off the thought and motioned toward the door, signaling it was time for him to go so she could lock up and make it to her next class. Amanda locked the door behind Scott and exhaled a slow, steady breath. Her fingers brushed against her temple as she tried to push away the heat in her cheeks. What was it with that guy? She shook her head, collected her bag, and turned toward the door, ready to head to class. But something tugged at her. I'm sensing some tension. Is that a dead body? Stop screaming. I promise I'll clean it up before the guests arrive. A whisper in her chest, a pull in the air. Her gaze drifted back to the box of materials Scott had left on the table. She took a few hesitant steps toward it. eyes scanning the aged books and photos until her fingers hovered over a worn leather journal, its cover embossed with a single letter, an ornate, curling A etched in ancient Gaelic script. She didn't remember seeing it earlier. It wasn't just a letter, it felt like a mark, a calling. Amanda reached out and touched the journal. The moment her fingers made contact, the air around her changed, denser, colder, charged with something electric. Flashes erupted behind her eyes. A crumbling stone tower bathed in moonlight. A woman in a tattered cloak standing by a cliff's edge. A raven's cry echoing through fog. She gasped and stumbled backward, but her body wouldn't respond fast enough. Her vision blurred, swirling into pinpricks of light before vanishing into inky black. The journal thudded to the floor, and Amanda collapsed beside it, completely unconscious.
I'm glad to hear that because I had to say that was confusing. I had like I was so
Amanda opened her eyes, blinking against the strange light filtering through the stone lattice of the window. Everything felt familiar, yet utterly unfamiliar. The scent of herbs and ash, the soft rustle of rough spun fabric, the distant crash of waves against cliffs. She sat up slowly, her head spinning. Amelia? She called inwardly. Amanda. What happened? Child, I know not where you come and go from, but whatever this connection is, it must be strong to call you here like this. Amelia's voice was steady but laced with unease. But this is not the best of times to be showing up. Why? What's wrong? Nothing you can help with. Hey, I resent that. Amanda's voice may not have been tied to her body, but her feelings came through loud and clear. Amanda, their shared inner dialogue was suddenly interrupted by a sharp voice from the doorway. I'm sensing some tension. A woman stepped into view, tall, with piercing eyes and a sharp nose that looked as though it had sniffed out centuries of secrets. Her dark robes trailed behind her like smoke, and the iron ring of her bracelets clinked softly as she crossed her arms. Agatha. Amanda knew her name. It was one of Amelia's sisters. She was familiar with her, the way one knows the taste of a favorite tea or the comfort of an old song. Didn't expect a visitor today, Agatha continued, her tone suspicious, but not without curiosity. Especially one wearing a soul that doesn't quite belong. Amanda swallowed hard. Amelia, what does she mean? Sees more than most, and if she knows you're not me, we may have a problem. Agatha raised a brow and turned toward the door. Well, don't just sit there whispering to yourself. Come along, both of you. Amanda felt her legs moving, though she wasn't sure it was entirely her doing. She followed as Agatha swept down the corridor, Amelia's presence pulsing like a steady heartbeat in her mind. They stepped out of the warm, herb scented comfort of Amelia's room and into the colder stone hall. Amanda's eyes widened the moment they passed through the threshold. Is that a dead body? She blurted out, recoiling instinctively. Stop screaming, Agatha said flatly, not even looking back. I promise I'll clean it up before the guests arrive. Agatha! Amelia's voice echoed with exasperation. Agatha merely shrugged her shoulders. It's a bloody chicken, Amelia. The way she's acting, you'd think I did away with the village idiot. She paused mid-stride, a devilish smirk tugging at her lips. Although that might not be a bad idea, would save our poor sister a few headaches. Amanda didn't know whether to laugh or be horrified. The hallway smelled faintly of blood and rosemary. A single feather floated past her shoe. This is real, Amanda thought, or real enough to make me question everything I thought I knew. Agatha led the way with the confidence of someone who had been in charge for far too long without ever asking permission. Amanda, still not fully herself, felt Amelia's reluctant steps guiding them both down the corridor through a narrow archway and into a cozy kitchen filled with hanging herbs, jars of strange powders, and the faint smell of freshly baked bread and blood. The plucked chicken lay unceremoniously on the wooden counter. Its head had been removed. Amanda did not care to analyze. She too did not care for the sight of blood. Agatha clapped her hands together with finality. Now, don't go back on what you promised me, sister, she said, spinning to face them. I would butcher the chicken. You would cook it. That was the deal. She wagged a finger with exaggerated drama. You never could stand the sight of blood, always going pale and swooning like a debutante at her first seance. Amelia, crossed her arms, scowling. Agatha waved her off before the protest could come. Now, before you get your tail feathers all ruffled up, if you get to cooking now, dinner will be done long before your stone prince wakes up. Amanda blinked. Stone prince? But Amelia was already groaning internally. You just had to bring him up, didn't you? Agatha grinned like a cat who'd swallowed the canary. Amanda kept her gaze low, pretending to examine the herbs drying near the hearth, but her mind was spinning. Stone Prince? She asked inwardly. Amelia, what did she mean by that? There was a pause, then a faint, embarrassed flicker of warmth in her chest that wasn't hers. It's complicated. Amelia's voice was hesitant, almost coy. A tale for another time, perhaps. Nope, Amanda pushed. Not a chance. You owe me after that whole blink and I'm suddenly in medieval chicken murder land. Spill it. Is he a prince made of stone? Is his body hard as stone? Did you? He's not made of stone, Amelia interrupted, clearly flustered. He's like stone. Yes, from the images you just shared, he has them all beat. Yeah, he sleeps like a rock. An enchanting man. She faltered. Amanda pressed harder. Is he? Was he yours? There was a beat of silence. Then, yes. The word echoed like a soft confession laced with longing. Amelia opened herself just enough for Amanda to feel the image, a tall figure draped in starlight, a strong jaw shadowed with centuries, lips kissed by fire and fate. Just as Amanda leaned into the vision, trying to see more, feel more. Amanda? The name yanked her upward like a rope. Amanda, wake up, sweetheart. She gasped, blinking rapidly as her vision adjusted to fluorescent lights overhead. Professor Lynn's face hovered above hers, concern etched deep in the lines of her brow. A damp washcloth rested on Amanda's forehead, and a bag of ice pressed against the back of her head. What? Amanda whispered, disoriented. You fainted. Hit your head pretty hard. Lynn's voice was calm, but edged with worry. You scared the hell out of me. Amanda turned her head slowly. She was back in a kitchen, the modern one. The ancient Gaelic journal lay closed on the table nearby, still humming with secrets. But in her chest, she could still feel it, the heat of Amelia's memory and the pull of a prince beneath stone. Do you think you are ready to sit up? Lynn asked. How long was I out? Not long. I forgot something and came back to see Scott leaving a little broken-hearted. I walked in and you were on the floor with that book in your hands. It took everything I had to pry it from your fingers. Oh. Amanda reached out, tracing the letter A with her finger before a faint smile played on her lips. Amanda? Professor Lynn's voice softened as she saw the confusion in Amanda's eyes. Are you okay? Can you sit up? Amanda blinked, the world still slightly spinning, but she nodded. Yeah, I think so. Carefully, Lynn slipped an arm under her shoulders and helped her sit upright. Amanda winced, pressing her hand to the tender spot on the back of her head where the ice pack had been resting. That's going to be a nasty bruise, Lynn said, gently brushing Amanda's hair aside to check the swelling. You must have tripped when I called your name. One minute you were halfway out the door, the next you were out cold. I don't even remember falling, Amanda mumbled. Lynn handed her the damp washcloth, still cool. You gave me quite the scare. With a sigh, the professor stood and extended her hand again. Come on, let's walk you back to campus. I'd feel better if the nurse had a look at you. Amanda hesitated for a moment, her gaze drifting to the journal. It was still sitting exactly where she dropped it, the worn leather cover unassuming except for the single ornate letter on the front, A, in intricate Gaelic script. Professor Lynn followed her line of sight. You had just picked that up when I walked in, she said, already reaching for it. Nearly fell with it in your hands. Amanda stared as Lynn tucked the diary under one arm. A small aged tag fluttered beneath it like a forgotten warning. Item number 54545B. Unknown diary. Unable to open. It appears to be sealed to the ages, most likely due to its age. Due to age and condition of artifact, it is advised not to attempt opening it. As they stepped outside into the chill of the early afternoon, Amanda cast one last glance over her shoulder. The journal now lay tucked under Professor Lynn's arm, the tag still clinging to it like a warning no one had ever truly heeded. But Amanda didn't say a word. Not yet. Dun dun dun. Yes, brother. You very much should have run away.
So I do technically have context because I downloaded last week's video and I watched it, so I caught up what I missed. Um, Very glad we didn't get the mean girl from last week. Also, what the fuck?
Yes. I-
You good is? Makes sense.
I want to say something. I got nothing except I need this book and I need it now.
I mean, that says plenty.
I- All right, prompters. You got your work cut out for you now. All right. Next up, our favorite little horror writer who loves scaring the pants off Izzy, Dahlia Mack. And it's cute. The document tabs, one says, read me, not me. Oh, goodness. Oh, I'll try something. Ew, awful.
Oh, I see what you're doing.
That's okay. There we go. I'm happier with that.
Yeah, that works.
Scuff. Okay, so all this is labeled as from Ms. Dahlia Mack is April 19 prompt. I'm a little scared. I, I'm just a little scared. Until years later, they came back from the dark and created a fire, doing strange rituals on the yearly tradition where the monsters from the woods came to kill us. While many hid away for the night, the people in gray cloaks and masks waited for the stars to fill the sky. Kian, now a teenager, stayed with me in my bunker as we waited for the night to end. There were a lot of townspeople that gathered around that fire. Tomorrow is going to be a long day for me, Kian grunted. Don't worry, everyone will help out. I will also make your favorite supper for you. Get some sleep. When the next day came around, people came from their hiding spots. Unlike every other year, where we would come out to find bloodshed from those poor souls that were found from the monsters, this year shifted as the town was cleaner than it ever was. I watched as the people in gray cloaks and masks waited for us to gather in the center of the town. Come gather. Don't be scared. We have great news to solve the yearly problem we have faced for generations, one of the people at the front of the crowd said. I'm sorry. I don't trust when a character of Dahlia's says, "Don't worry, don't be scared. I have a solution." I don't trust it. I don't I don't trust it. Townsfolk hesitantly came worried of what was to come of this town. How did you guys survive the night? Someone in the crowd yelled. We created a bond with the gods, the leader said. What kind of bond? Kian yelled. We will gather at the town hall at noon with all the information one will need to know about our gods and how we can survive the yearly bloodshed, they replied. The cloaked people turned away, all at the same time, and left. Everyone else looked at each other confused. I looked at Kian with raised eyebrows. What has been unleashed onto this town? I whispered. So many questions with none answered. What's with all the mystery? Should we go? Might as well. Now it's just a matter of waiting. I will see you there. I should go help with Macmicking with the animals. See you later, Kian. Walking off to the kitchen, I collect the order of supplies they need for the day. I go from one part of the town to another with my wagon, gathering eggs, flour, new bowls, plates, and some other supplies, with last but not least a large pottery jar with water in it. Do you need help with any of that? I can drop it off for you if needed, Archie offered. That's very kind of you. I got it. Thank you. Are you going to the town hall at noon? Yeah. Are you going? I will be there. See you around then. Dropping off the supplies and placing them in the storage area for the folks in the kitchen. Thank you, Kylie, one of the ladies shouts as I walked out the front door. As noon came close, everyone gathered into the town hall. There were people in their gray cloaks with no masks on at this time. I looked around and found Kian seated on the long wooden backless bench. I sat beside him as we waited. Archie came in just as the last few townspeople took their seats. Searching for me, we locked eyes, and he came to sit beside me. Just then, a woman burst through the doors yelling, You monsters, you doomed us all, the woman yelled. Darling, it will be okay, the husband said, trying to move her away from the crowd. We never should have moved here, she yelled, pushing him away. She ran out of the building. Opening the door, she looked at everyone. You'll regret unleashing those things onto the village. Those monsters cursed us all. Is it just me, or are you sensing some tension from everyone as well? Kian whispered into my ear. Definitely tension in this room now, I whispered. The room was filled with chatter. It got louder with every passing minute. The cloaked individuals went back into their positions in the room and collected themselves before speaking. The cloaked individuals went back into their positions in the room and collected themselves before speaking. Quiet, everyone, the leader shouted. After yelling it a few more times, the hall was quiet as everyone waited, shifted uncomfortably. This is the rebirth of our gods. From this day on, our souls, our blood, our bodies belong to the nameless gods. We shall be granted a time of prosperity for as long as we worship them, he said, pausing. And what if we don't agree with this? Someone yelled. Then you are free to leave, but you may never come back, the leader replied. The townspeople placed their hoods on and placed masks onto their faces. People got up and tried running out of the building. The doors were locked from the outside. Gas slowly filled the building. People one by one passed out. I tried to hold on for as long as I could, watching those in cloaks lift me off the ground just before blacking out. Dun dun dun.
Wait, it ends there? Dahlia. You good, Iz?
A long time ago, back in the history of the Hold My Pen Promptcast, there was a prompt about a woman, mother of three, accidentally starting a forest fire.
I remember.
Okay, that's where my romantic suspense thriller started with Maggie and
That's where
Sven.
Sven came from.
That's where Sven
Yeah,
came
I
from.
remember. I
And
remember.
I remember that Dahlia had this really interesting village with a woman who is trying to save people from the monsters in the woods. And now she's got these.
Is she in here?
I don't know
Isn't
if
she
she's
in
in
here?
here.
I haven't seen her tonight.
Yeah, I don't see her.
Oh, no, she's not here. Right, Stavros? Not connected? I think not.
I'm just I'm hearing I'm hearing the teacher from the Incredibles now.
Right? Sorry, my messenger is going off like cray cray.
Yeah, I'm multitasking right now too. That's why I keep looking down. I'm sorry.
No, you're fine. I got something. Um, I was
So
kind of
let's.
expecting a new prompter tonight to submit,
Uh,
and I don't see it in our inbox. However, I did send this person the newsletter and said it has instructions on how to submit. But then this person went and messaged me on Messenger because that's our main mode of communication. And said something about this one may be scarier, and I'm like, "Wait, what? Are you watching? No, you're not watching because you're not in the room." Whatever.
But we don't have that prompt either. So did it get sent to the right spot?
I don't know. And now you're blurry.
Oh wow.
Yeah, I have no idea. I'm not sure what this person is responding to that says, this one might be scarier. I'm like, what does that even mean? I just don't know. Okay, give me just a minute. Um, when you get to middle age, if you sneeze, so the other option is too, Shar, if you would like to come back and read. Up next is our lovely Trisha Jones.
I would love to. Give me 1 second though. I've got literally I'm working with emails right now. Just give me 1 second.
You're fine. You're fine. I will be right back, folks. Slight intermission. Shar, start whenever you're ready. If I'm not back.
I'm so sorry. I have so much on my plate right now.
You got so much on your plate. I'm attempting food. It's great.
Okay. Sorry about that. We will edit it out in the video later on. So we are on Trisha's. Just get situated here. My creepy ass underglow. Waiting for Gmail to load. I am so sorry. Okay. Do I wait for Izzy to come back or do I just start? Oh, that's well timed. Okay. So, it's been a minute since I've done this. I'm getting nervous. Sorry. All right. So the next prompt for this week is Miss Trisha Jones, and it is only a word count of 887. So I'm very curious to see how she freaks us out with so little words. In front of the house, I have not been inside. In front of the house, I have not been inside this house in years, but something was pulling me back. That something was my mother. She demanded that I return for her grand party. This was the biggest party she threw in centuries, and everyone in the family had to be there, which had my mother calling me last week to ensure I would be here. I stepped out of my car looking at the house. It had not changed since I left so long ago. I grabbed my bag and headed up the front steps for the door. I took a couple deep breaths before knocking on the door. As soon as I did, my mother's butler answered. There's a butler? I know I said it was a grand house, but there's a butler? Hello, madam. Your mother is waiting for you in the front room. He moved aside to allow me to enter the house and took my bag. Your bag will be in your room. Thank you, I said before going to see my mother. As I entered the room, my mother looked up. You came. She came over and hugged me. I'm sensing some tension. I wonder why, mother. You were the reason I had to leave the house in the first place. Oh, are you still upset about that? My mother waved off my issues like it was nothing. Mother, you chased me off with a sword because you thought I disrespected you, but survived the angry mob that came after us, I nearly yelled. Don't take that tongue with me. I'm your mother. You knocked me down so you could get away. Well, I was not in the right mind at the time. My meal was disrupted by the mob, she said, going back to her newest hobby. You could have gotten another meal after you helped me, I yelled. Oh, stop it. You survived, didn't you? She busted my anger away. I decided to just go up to my room so I didn't do something I would be later a suspect in a murder too. I sat on my bed thinking, why did I even come? I sighed because if I didn't come, my dear mother would find me and drag me here. I got up and started unpacking my party gown so I could get the wrinkles worked out before the party tomorrow night. I looked at my long black silk dress. I sighed. I know mother will hate this dress, but it's the only way to cause damage without actually causing damage. I was talking to myself, not expecting the answer I'd heard. You're right. Mom's gonna hate that dress. I turned to see my younger brother standing in the doorway. But it will look amazing on you. I rolled my eyes. Does mother know you're here? He chuckled. Yeah, she says you're being dramatic and holding a grudge against her. You know I have every right to be holding a grudge. Oh, yes, he said. Alana, if you hate her so much, why are you here? Ethan, do you honestly think she would allow me to not be here? I said. You know better than I do that she would do everything in or out of her power to get me here. He sighed. Yes, I know, but you have always been able to hide from her. Yes, but this isn't just any party. This is the big I'm still here party where everyone's invited just for her to show off. Ethan laughed. Yep, and you know she has so many coming that she's renting out one of those giant tents that some use for weddings. I rolled my eyes. Of course she is. Ethan laughed. Are you coming out to eat? No, I ate before I got here. He shrugged. Suit yourself. I'll see you later. Have fun, I called after him. I decided to go to bed early since I was tired from traveling. I snuggled down into bed and tried to relax, knowing my mother would want me to help set everything up for her party. When I woke up, the house was buzzing with activity. I got dressed and went to find my mother. I'd better go get to helping her, I sighed. I found her in the ballroom, telling the worker where to put things. She turned around to see me standing in the doorway. There you are. She grabbed me by my arm. I need you to go wipe down the tables and chairs. All right, I said and grabbed the rag. It took hours to wipe them all down. By the time I was done, I had to go get ready for the party. As I walked to my room, I walked past Ethan's partially open door and noticed something odd. I went into his room and I stopped when I saw something that would make our mother's head explode. Is that a dead body? Stop yelling, he said, trying to quiet me down. I promise I'll clean it up before the guests get here. Then you better get moving, I said with my hands on my hips. They're going to be here soon. All right, I'm taking care of it, Ethan said, picking up the body. I went to take a shower and go get ready for the party. Dun, dun, dun. Gonna go out on a limb here and assume those aren't humans.
I mean, best party in centuries, and
I can't hear you, hon. You're muted.
how am I muted? Can you hear me now? Oh my gosh.
I don't know if they can hear you, but I can't hear you at all.
Can you hear me now?
There we go.
I don't know. I got this mic, I got that mic control, and I got that mic control, and somehow something got all. Okay, cool. I mean, best party in centuries? Pushing daughter away to get away from the mob? Oh,
Yeah, definitely not human.
definitely
Definitely not
not
human.
human. Oof. Oof.
Yeah, everyone else is saying that they could hear you, so it was just me who couldn't hear you for some reason.
You know what? Probably because that one was muted. So anybody who is live with me is muted, can't hear me. But
Mm,
because through the streaming software it's connected to here,
that makes sense.
that makes sense. Okay. Stavros, I went to get food and came back to parties? I
You
don't
was more than just parties.
I don't know. That's whew. Uh, okay, so with this prompt, I'm sensing some tension. We've got a whole hell of a lot of tension tonight.
Very unique.
Mhm.
I like how everybody's been interpreting it differently too.
Yeah, absolutely.
Well, if there wasn't tension, everybody's creating it.
Yeah, this is true. Definitely. Definitely. All right. Next up, Bestie Cash. And it's entitled Sleepover. Now,
Why does that feel ominous?
well, for anybody who's curious, her word count is 666, and she decided to leave it there on purpose.
Okay, one, that's very short for Cash, and two, what the fuck?
I don't know. And she's in the comments saying,
Oh,
time to
there's
make
Dahlia.
Izzy blush. Dahlia, you missed it. Wait, where do you see Dahlia?
Worldwide 99,000. That's Dahlia.
Oh, there it is. I don't know. It says that she's not. I'm viewing on Mod Chat or over on my other laptop that I covered in stickers that apparently are not staying down. Gosh bless America. Anyway, and it doesn't say that she's there. You missed yours. We have theories about yours, Dahlia's. Dahlia, Mac. We have theories. We have questions. We have questions and theories and thinking that things are
Lots of
connecting.
questions and lots of theories.
Yeah, and thinking we may be you may be connecting back to an old prompt, potentially. Well, I bet you did wonderful on the test. Oh, we can do that. We can do that over in the Discord. Promise. Promise, promise, promise. Okay. So, sleepover. Sleepover. Make Izzy blush with a word count of 666. Here we go. The party was going great until Meredith's blood splattered all over Britt's favorite pillow. That's when things started going horribly wrong for all the girls present at the sleepover. OMG, what just happened to Meredith? Is she okay? Tawny was almost shrieking, her hands covering her mouth. The three girls in the room were standing around their friend's body, not sure what had just happened. They looked at each other, frozen in fear as far as what to do. Oh my god, oh my god, oh my god. Stacy held her phone in her hand, spinning the pop socket she had attached to the device in her anxiousness. Is she dead? Jessica was getting tears in her eyes as she knelt down next to their friend to examine her. She covered her hand over her mouth when she saw the hole in the middle of the dead girl's forehead. Yeah, she's dead. I think she was shot, she confirmed, the tears rolling down her cheek. It was at that point that Britt walked back into the living room and froze. She looked at the scene in her room. I'm sensing some tension. Britt continued to walk in the room, coming around the couch and finally seeing the rest of the picture. Oh no, my favorite pillow. The distress in her voice was only eclipsed by the fact she stepped over Meredith's body like it wasn't there. Twice. The four other girls looked at each other very confused, none of them sure if they should point out Meredith laying on the floor or not. What's all over it? She looked at Jennifer, who happened to be the one who was closest to her. It's Meredith. She's dead. It's her bl- bl- blood. Jennifer began stuttering, not sure of what to think or do in that moment. She was scared of Britt's reaction. Are you sure that it's blood? It doesn't look like blood. Britt was looking at the spots on the pillow and sniffing them. And she's not dead, she's just asleep. She stepped over Meredith's body again, acting like nothing alarming was going on. The other girls were looking at each other and then Meredith, everyone growing incredibly uncomfortable. I'm uncomfortable. No, for real. Meredith is dead. Jessica picked up the girl's arm and lifted it up and dropped it. See? Dead. She's just asleep, Britt said. Jennifer saw Britt tap her finger twice on her leg, and then the next thing she and the other girl knew, the same thing happened to Jessica, her blood splattering all over the remaining two girls. Kesh, that's fine that you sent the wrong version. It's fine. It's scary enough as is. Both of them just sat in wide-eyed shock to what had just happened, keeping their eyes on Britt. All eyes then went to the door as Britt's older sister Stacy came in the room, coming in to check on how the younger girls are doing. Is that a dead body? The older girl asked, coming around the couch. 2 dead bodies, Britt. 2? Mom and Dad have had this discussion with you before. Stop.
Beg your finest flippin' pardon?
Britt, right. Stop screaming. I promise I'll clean everything up before Mom and Dad get home. Britt said. Britt side-eyed the remaining 2 girls. A smirk crept across her face. You know Mom and Dad don't want you playing with the mortals like this. They're living beings like us. Tawny and Jennifer were holding each other, terrified out of their mind. I'm just having some fun with them, Stacy, Britt whined. Clean it up, Britannia. Clean it up now or I will call Mom and Dad. Stacy ordered. Fine. The younger girl stomped her feet and she tapped her fingers on her side again. Jennifer and Tawny watched as both Jessica and Meredith got up from the floor, the holes gone from their heads. Go on, Britt. Stacy urged her younger sister to finish what she was doing. Britt tapped her fingers a third time, and all the other girls were sitting around in a circle, wanting Britt to join them and play a board game. Dun dun dun. I beg your finest pardon, Kesh Butler.
Cash.
All I have to say is that I feel very, very lucky that she loves me like a sister, and I am not on her bad side and haven't been in about 24 years. Yeah, Stavros, words need to be said. Hibbity, hibbity, hibbity. Holy crikey, Batman. Bazinga! I'm just mixing up all of my nerd shit right now.
No, this ain't. About to say, this is no bazinga. This is definitely a ma'am. And I can't even do it with the amount of emphasis I need to do it with.
I'm noticing there's been like a through line theme of um not horror, but like inhuman stuff in a lot of these, and it's very interesting.
Yes, very much so. Okay, maybe that'll work.
It is definitely a what in the hell kind of thing here.
I, I'm here for it. All the stuff that I, mm, mhm. Holy carp.
I love that. Dahlia goes, that was brilliant. And then Cash goes, what? See, Dahlia liked it.
Duh. There was blood splatter.
Anywho, back onto our next contestant.
Next contestant. Up next is our lovely returning prompter that we missed oh so much in our boxes, C.R. McCormick. And it's called Smiling. Oh, yeah, that look on your
I
face isn't ominous.
I uh, I apologize in advance, even though I don't mean the apology one bit.
Uh huh. I sees how y'all are. I sees.
I can't fully react tonight. That's why they're doing this.
I mean, there is that.
I'm I'm real sad that I can't see Patrick's face for this. I won't lie.
Killing me, Smalls. You're killing me. The trees were dense in this area of the woods, thick enough that the branches blocked out any remaining rays of the setting sun. They nearly missed the driveway in the growing darkness. The trees were so tall and close together, the group hadn't really spotted the passageway the driveway carved into them until they nearly shot past it on the highway. Now, after trundling along the dirt road for the last 15 minutes, they were all starting to wonder just how deep into the woods Reed's uncle had built his cabin. Avery had asked a couple times if he was sure this was the right driveway, but he just waved off their concern, insisting they were going the right way. Eventually, he was proven right, as a two-story building rose up into sight as they crested the top of a small hill. Maya lifted an eyebrow, staring at it for a few seconds before grabbing her phone from her lap and texting Sarah, despite the fact that she was in the seat directly behind Maya. M. This looks like it came out of a magazine called Rustic Getaways for Aspiring Serial Killers. S. Would that make Reed the serial killer or his uncle? Maya let out a sharp snort that she stifled before it became a full laugh and promptly ignored the sharp look Reed shot her as he parked the car and cut the engine. Now, does that look like a haunted house to you guys? He asked, his tone far too proud of a building the other four people all unanimously agreed probably had bodies in the basement. Maya, still staring through the windshield from her spot in the passenger seat, let out a thoughtful sound. I'm getting a mixed vibe of shambling undead meets ravenous shapeshifter, with a sprinkling of vengeful ghosts. Laughter filled the car at that, which seemed to lighten the uneasy mood that had settled around them. Even Reed snorted with a grin, shaking his head as he got out of the car and headed for the trunk. Good, then you should fit right in. The rest of the group tumbled out of the car as well, the sound of conversation filling the quiet air around the cabin. Danny and Maya were working together to drag down the plethora of duffel bags and backpacks from the top of the car, while Reed and Avery were pulling the wall of coolers free from the trunk. Sarah remained standing by the car, staring up at the cabin, specifically at one of the windows on the second floor. There was nothing in it, not even a curtain. It was just empty blackness through the glass. She wasn't even sure why her eyes had been drawn to it to begin with. Sarah, here's your bag. Danny's voice pulled her from the near trance she'd fallen into, and she trotted over to take the bag being held down to her, casting a skeptical look up at Danny, who was now full on squatting on the roof of the car. You scratch up that roof, and Reed's going to strap you to the roof on the way back, she warned, smirking at the loud snort Danny gave as she tossed a couple more bags to the ground. He'd have to catch me first. Sarah laughed, grabbing a couple more bags that had been tossed down after slipping on her backpack, casting the second floor one final glance before following Maya in with the bags. The inside of the cabin was noticeably more inviting, with photos of Reed and his family scattered across the walls. Old but still thick rugs covered the weathered floors. A good-sized kitchen was visible from the front door, and the living room attached to it looked cozy, with multiple chairs and couches surrounding a crackling fireplace. Crackling fireplace? Who is there to light the fire? Oh, don't have that half smirk on your face. I don't trust a single
I don't know what
freaking
you're
one
talking
of
about.
you.
I don't know what you're talking about.
Mhm. Mhm. There was a wide staircase in the living room that led up to the second floor, and a number of doors were scattered about to imply either lots of closets or more rooms. This is actually pretty nice, Danny said, and Reed snorted as he muscled forward with the biggest cooler, making a beeline for the kitchen. And you all had no faith, he called, the rest of them shaking their heads as they spread out. There's two bedrooms down here. The rest are upstairs. Bathroom is the door beside the stairs. Avery and Sarah stood in the living room, watching the rest of the group wander and find where they'd be crashing for the week they were staying there. A few seconds went by before Avery looked up at Sarah. Who lit the fire? They whispered. Sarah glanced at the fireplace, watching the well tended, robust fire that was merrily cracking away in the fireplace, and took in a slow breath before looking to Avery with a slightly forced smile. Let's go find our rooms. The unpacking ceremony was chaos. Reed was on a mission to get all the food in as soon as possible, likely to try and figure out which one had the wine in it. Avery was dragging in armful after armful of sleeping bags and blankets, with Maya claiming her insistence on bringing so many was genius, considering the entire cabin only had the one fireplace, it seemed. Sarah and Danny were wrestling with the frame for the projector screen, which also ended up being a wise decision to bring, as Reed's uncle apparently had no televisions in the entire building. After Reed located the wine, he turned his attention to locating and gassing up the generator behind the cabin. By the time everything was unpacked and the cabin was prepped and ready for the week in the woods, it was nearly pitch black outside. Deeming it being too much work to cook anything just yet, and with Reed being the only one who had a vague idea of how to use the propane stove, they all opted for digging into multiple bowls of snacks while watching movies on the projector screen. The five of them sprawled out across the furniture in the living room. It was by the start of the second movie that Danny piped up. So that's not a wood fireplace, right? Because it hasn't gone down at all and no one's touched it. Reed grumbled as he wrestled himself up from the nest he'd made and investigated the chimney. The rest of them watched him circle, prod, and dig around, only to shrug with a huff. Weird ass antique, he muttered as he returned to his nest. It's probably gas fed or something. It was on when we got here, Avery spoke up, which had the entire group quiet for a few minutes. How long since your uncle was up here? Maya asked, and Reed was quiet for a beat before shrugging again. I don't know, a few weeks. So that fire's been running for almost a month straight now? Danny asked, a skeptical tone in her voice. All five of them looked at the fire, listening to it pop and snap in the suddenly heavy silence. Then Reed reached forward and slapped the spacebar on the laptop attached to the projector. The sound of the movie resuming filled the silence, and resumed filling the silence. I read that wrong. And the group settled down to watch once more. Avery's voice broke the silence halfway through the second movie. Did anyone else see that? The other four turned to look at them, then looked towards the window Avery's eyes were locked on. A huge, wide window, framed by curtains they'd tied back earlier. The dark outside seemed to press up against the glass itself and prompted Sarah to reach over and turn one of the lamps on to help fight off the dim living room. See what? Danny asked, looking back towards Avery. I thought Avery shook their head. Never mind. Just a face or something. Probably the reflection of the projector. Reed stood up, peered out the large window. Nothing out there. Yeah, but was there something? Maya asked. Sarah's eyes hadn't left the window since Avery spoke. Of course there wasn't, Reed insisted as he dropped back into his seat. Why would there be a face in the window? You guys saw how long of a drive it was up here. Who'd be out there? I guess it was weird, though. It was smiling, Avery added quietly. Maya gave a nervous laugh. Okay, yeah, no, that's not funny. Not joking, Avery said, still staring at that window. Maya got up and closed the curtain without another word, and the group once again resumed the movie. No one looked at the window. The movie ended, but no one made an attempt to start a new one, nor did anyone retreat to their respective rooms. They remained clustered in the living room around the still cheerily cracking fire. Crack. They remained clustered in the living room around the still cheerily crackling fire. I think we're just freaking ourselves out, Maya said softly, mostly to fill the silence. Nothing's out there. It's just the woods. Weird noises, long shadows, everyone stuck in the same place too long. It's textbook cabin fever. No one replied. Avery was staring at the curtain. Maya gave a forced smile, gesturing vaguely to the room. I'm sensing some tension here. Still no response. She frowned, then shoved up out of her chair, irritated. There's nothing there, she insisted, reaching out and pulling the curtain back. Stepping back to gesture proudly at the dark, empty window, Maya looked back to the others, bracing her hands on her hips. See? Nothing. By the way, just how this landed, that's a page break right there. And all I can imagine is me flipping the page. Like, do I want to turn the page? Do I want to turn the page? I don't know. However, there's a scroll. There's a scroll, so it's no flipping pages. Sarah nodded, then let out a startled gasp so loud it caused everyone to flinch and look at her. She was staring at the window a few feet to the left of Maya. Maya turned to the window as well and gasped sharply, stumbling back from the glass. That face was back. In the window to the left, pressed up as close to the window pane as it could be, wearing that warped, distorted smile. Widened eyes staring in at the group, darting around to stare at each of them. Maya staggered back, breathing sharp and shallow. Holy shit, holy shit! She lurched forward, snatching the curtain with both hands and yanking it shut. With a sharp curse, she dragged the original window's curtain closed as well, then retreated back to her chair and dropped into it with her eyes still locked on the window. The others had all seen the face, had seen the smile. They'd all seen the distorted, unnatural grin leering in at them from the window. They all knew it was out there. We need to leave, Sarah whispered, and Danny let out a strangled sound. I'm not going out in the dark while that thing's out there, she snapped. We'll leave in the morning, Reed insisted, his voice tight. That night, no one slept. None of them retreated to their designated bedrooms or even made any attempt to get up from the safety of their blankets and sleeping bags. More movies were played, even though no one was really watching. Food was neglected, since that meant reaching out of the safety of blankets. The fire never died. Then a sound broke through the noise of the movie, not loud or sharp, just a whisper, so faint it might have been wind or the house settling. Avery stirred
Your
on the.
mic, your mic is like I almost can't like it's.
I've got.
And I think Julie's getting the same thing.
I got a warning. I've got a nice little warning here. Can you hear me now?
Yeah, it's good now.
Okay. Well, that sucked. I was on a roll.
I'm sorry.
It's fine. The fire never died. Then a sound broke through the noise of the movie. Not loud or sharp, just a whisper, so faint it might have been wind or the house settling. Avery stirred on the couch, glancing warily around the room, hoping that sound had come from one of their friends. All of them were staring at the projector, as if scared to look anywhere else in the house. Another whisper, this one from the stairs. A shiver crawled up their spine, and they tugged their sleeping bag closer. Did anyone hear that? They asked, voice barely above a murmur. No, Danny said immediately, too fast, too firm. Maya didn't answer. She was curled in a ball, blanket clutched to her chin, eyes open and locked on the projector. Sarah pried her eyes from the screen in order to look at Avery, purposely avoiding looking at the window, and slowly shook her head. Avery nodded, settling back down, heart pounding. Just the wind, just the pipes, just there it was again. Still too faint to understand, but most definitely not imagined. They swallowed, looking to the group again. In the bright light of all the lamps turned on, the others all looked ashen and sickly. Avery tightened their grasp on the pillow in their lap, looking back to the flickering projection screen. The others had heard the whispering. It was obvious. They were doing their best to ignore it, but everyone had definitely heard. By morning, they were afraid. No one had left the main room. Maya hadn't spoken once since she saw it. Sarah still hadn't moved from her chair. Danny poured coffee with a shaking hand. Reed came back into the cabin, stomping and cursing loudly. Fucking car won't start, he seethed, disappearing into one of the many other rooms of the cabin, muttering something about a toolkit. The rest of the group shared looks, uneasy at the thought of being trapped out in the middle of nowhere, let alone with something leering at them through the window at night. The car still wasn't starting by the time darkness returned. Cell phones were now lacking service despite working fine the night before. Reed had warmed up some of the meal kits they'd brought on the propane stove, and they all forced themselves to eat despite a lack of appetite. Sarah stared at the fire, unnerved by the flame that hadn't lessened once. No dial had been found, no controls to suggest gas or electricity. There were visible logs that could be moved and adjusted with the poker. No amount of fussing or prodding caused the fire to die down in any way. Once again, they gathered around the projector, Reed having to have been begged to come back inside once it got dark, to leave the car until tomorrow. He was scowling at the screen, muttering under his breath about not finding any clear reason why the car just wouldn't start. Sarah pulled her sleeves over her hands, settling further into her sleeping bag, struggling to stay warm despite the fire blazing and the nest of blankets she was in. This is actually pretty nice. Excuse me? She demanded, turning around to glare at Danny, who twitched and looked at her in confusion. What? How is this nice in any way? Sarah demanded. The two of them stared at each other for a pause before Danny huffed. Well, I'm sorry if I didn't know the instant we got here that we'd be stalked by some creepy predator, she snapped, and Sarah sat up. I'm not talking about then. I meant now. How can you say that now? I didn't say anything, Danny insisted. But I heard. Sarah halted, her temper draining instantly as she stared at Danny, realizing she was being honest. She turned to Avery, who looked even paler than before. You heard it too? Avery whispered, and Sarah shook her head. No, I heard Danny. Sarah, Danny didn't say anything. None of us did, Maya said quietly. The room was painfully quiet in that moment, everyone staring at Sarah. Let's go find our rooms. Every face turned to look at Sarah, who'd launched up and over the back of the couch she was on, backing up several paces. What the fuck? She hissed, her hands lifted up defensively. I didn't fucking say that. And then Avery said, barely above a whisper, I think it's mimicking. Oh, fuck no. Oh, fuck no. Oh, fuck no. Oh, fuck no. Mimics? Fuck, 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 fuck. Y'all, it's not even October. What the fuck? The silence stretched, all five of them quiet, as if waiting for the next whisper to be heard. Nope, I'm not doing this, Reed said, standing from his chair. I'm going to get that fucking car fixed, and we are getting the hell out of here. Reed, don't, Danny insisted, standing as well. You got a better idea? You want to sit here in a huddle and wait for whatever it is to show up again? He demanded. All he got was silence in response, so he nodded and turned to the door, only to take a step back with a vicious curse as his eyes landed on one of the windows near the door, staring at the face in the window. Startled screams came from the group, all of them leaping from their respective nests to put as much distance as they could between themselves and the window. Who opened the curtain? Maya wailed. The face continued to stare at them, those wide, bloodshot eyes following them as they scattered through the room, that huge grin spreading even wider. It's been moving closer to the door, Avery whispered to Sarah from where they were both hidden behind the couch. It wants in. No, no, fuck this, Reed snapped, storming to the door. He ignored the yells the entire group gave to stay away from it, yanking the door open and storming outside. Stepping out onto the porch, he turned to look down the length of it, where the window sat. He's gone. Whoever the creep is, he's taken off, he called to the group inside. I'm going to go get that car running, and we're leaving. Lock the door behind me. He closed the door with a hard pull. They waited. 5 minutes. 10 minutes. Half an hour. No sound. No noise from the car. No words from Reed. No footsteps. Only the wind. Then from the window in the kitchen, low, whispered, familiar, "You all had no faith." An hour had passed, with no sound from outside, no sign of Reed whatsoever. The four of them hadn't moved from their hiding spots, all of them balled up and shaking. Avery was crying silently into their knees. Maya was muttering softly to herself, tugging at her hair. Sarah was silent, as if terrified whatever had taken her voice would return if she spoke. "I don't think he's coming back," Danny mumbled, and Avery lifted their tear-streaked face from their knees. "We can't just—" They swallowed, their voice raw. We can't just do nothing. What if he's hurt? We have to look for him. We have to try." "No one goes outside," Danny said, standing up. "We don't know what's out there." "So we just wait here and do nothing?" Avery demanded, finding the courage to stand as well. Slowly, Maya rose to her feet, turning to look towards the door. Avery and Danny both looked to her at the strangled sound that came from her. Her expression was one of genuine terror, and it had both of them freezing. Not willing to look at whatever she was staring at, Sarah stared at the frozen group from where she was hidden behind the couch and took in a deep breath before wearily poking her head up over the back of the furniture. Fear turned her body to lead as she saw the face grinning at them from the window directly next to the door. "Is it locked?" Sarah whispered, and her voice seemed to break Danny from her paralysis. She didn't look at the window, just bolted forward to rush the front door. Slamming into it, she twisted the knob hard, scrabbling at the chain near the top of the door to slide it closed as well. She kept her back to the window, violent tremors shuddering through her. "I'm gonna make sure," she mumbled, pushing away from the door and walking swiftly through the living room towards the hallway. "Check the back door. Make sure everything's locked. Can't let it in." No one stopped her. She walked down the hall and turned the corner, disappearing from sight. Maya crept towards the window, eyes still locked on the face, her heart in her throat as she watched the bulging, beady eyes track her movement as she came closer and closer. Once the window was within arm's reach, she dragged the curtain closed and raced back to the couch with Sarah. Avery joined them, and they all huddled behind the couch to wait for Danny to come back. A minute passed. Then another. Then 5. Motherfucker, another page break.
You can do it, Izzy.
"Danny?" Avery called, voice shaky. Silence. Maya stood, walked to the hallway, stopped. "Danny?" she said louder. Still nothing. "Shit," Maya whispered, backing away. "Did she go outside?" Sarah asked. "I didn't hear the back door open." "No," Avery said, getting up now too. "No, she's not. She's just in a room or something. We just didn't hear her. They checked the hallway, the rooms, the closets. Every door, every corner. Nothing. No sign. Danny was gone. And then, just loud enough to hear from one of the bedroom doors, "We can't just do nothing." Avery's voice. But Avery was standing right there. Another hour passed. No one spoke. No one moved. Danny was gone. Reed was gone. Maya sat on the couch, arms locked around her knees, her face pale, jaw tight. She hadn't blinked in what felt like hours. Avery stood near the hearth, staring into the flames like they were trying to see something behind them. Sarah sat in the large armchair, staring at her hands. The fire cast long shadows across her face, but her eyes never caught the light, like they didn't reflect anymore. The silence sat heavy, the three of them all holding their breath, scared to break the quiet, scared to leave each other's sight, scared to look at the windows. A laugh, soft, breathy, coming from the chair Sarah sat in. Maya flinched, slowly turned her head. Avery turned away from the fire, looking fearfully towards their friend. Sarah was smiling, a wide, stretched, distorted, unnatural smile. Sarah blinked once, slow, deliberate. Her eyes weren't right anymore. Too wide, too dark. Then, in a voice that wasn't hers, that shouldn't be hers, "I'm sensing some tension here." Dun dun dun.
Sure.
Oh, I have been. I've been reading. I've been reading the comment section the whole time. So, one of the things I've been working on in my absence is a book of short stories of short scare stories that I'm also illustrating that I plan on publishing as soon as they're done, and that's one of them. Oh God, Izzy, I'm
Izzy's going to be checking under her bed, in the closet.
I have a recurring nightmare every now and then where I see a face in a window and it moves different windows closer and closer to the front door, and so I figured this would be a good one to use that nightmare in. So
Look, I'm from the era of the original Scream movies.
And let's not forget the last house on the left,
The
the
Cabin
original
in the
Chainsaw
Woods,
Massacres.
the Jason movies, the Freddy movies, Halloween. Okay, these were the things that I avoided like the plague because I'm a scared little white girl that would leave everybody behind going, "Bye, see ya, you're fucking on your own."
I I figured I would give Dahlia a break from being the only one who wrote horror. So
I don't know.
Not this week.
Not this week.
not this week.
You all. Who?
I have a feeling it might not have hit as hard if I wasn't like one of the last ones of the night.
Oh no, it wouldn't have mattered. It wouldn't have mattered which order you all were in tonight. Um.
Yeah, Trisha's wasn't scary. That's true. But she didn't get to read Trisha's. I did.
That's and
No,
I
Trisha's was sadistic.
I
there was a little bit of sadisticness in Trisha's. Yes, yes, and
I want I want to apologize for breaking Izzy, but that was kind of my goal. So wow, you're self-soothing. That's oh, okay.
um
Stab wrapping isn't scary apparently.
someday I'm gonna make you all pay for this. The problem is that you all are probably gonna enjoy it.
Poquito. I love you. I love you very much.
I can see the outtakes from this now. I really can. Big bold letters. We broke Izzy. Hey, huge.
Which brings us to our last submission, last late submission of the night. CR, while Izzy's trying to regain some sort of composure,
Do you
you
want
want
me
to
to
go
read
ahead
it?
and just read that one.
Yeah, I'll read it because I think Izzy's down for the count, and it's kind of my fault, so it makes sense that I should read it.
No. It's all y'all's fault. All y'all's fault. Every single last one of you. It's all y'all's fault. I'm okay.
It's not
I
mine.
promise.
I didn't submit.
Hey, true,
So,
true. The only one I'm not pissed off at right now is Julie.
And Julie's
so
sick, so I mean,
does that mean that Izzy would not be willing to beta read my collection of scary short stories once they're done?
Oh, I'm fucking there.
oh no, she's there for it. It just she didn't. You're giving her a heads up with it
True.
versus.
No, you didn't, Trisha. You didn't. However, that sounded eerily like a narcissistic mother who would save her own skin before she would save her family.
Honest.
And that's slightly scary in a different way.
Okay, what am I reading? Because there's 17 pages here.
Oh, yeah.
I'm not reading 17 pages. So I'm assuming there's a particular scene I have to read, but it's one long Google Doc. So
Oh, there's also double space between the paragraphs. Actually, that's triple space.
Yeah, it's only like 3,800 words.
still, I don't know what part I'm reading. Am I reading all of it?
3800 Stavros. That about right?
Just the
Just
chapter
chapter
one.
one.
Oh, and page 17 is blank.
I'm only seeing the chapter one. Is the whole thing chapter one?
Yeah,
I'm
there's a
guessing it's
triple
the whole thing is
spacing.
chapter one.
Yeah, there's triple spacing between the paragraphs for formatting.
I'm just I'm gonna copy this all over into an actual Word file so I can bear with me here.
Well, and that's something that Julie and I realized that we had to do because originally she had one of her documents that she wanted me to take a look at in Arial, and I have a hard time reading Arial. So I switched it into something that I could read and changed the formatting a little bit so that I could read it to give proper feedback. And then when it goes back to her, I switch it back to Arial. So I, sometimes that makes it easier.
Yep. Okay. As much as I want to do this, I have to get off here in 9 minutes, and even in the document, it's 9 pages long. So I don't think I'll be able to finish it in 9 minutes.
Go as far as you can.
Okay. All right. Okay. So this is SP Stavros's, and is this something we've read before? Is this the Phoenix? Is it the second book or?
Yep, second book.
Okay. All right. A drip of dew hit the tip of remind me how to say the name? Kalida?
Kalita,
Kalida.
or at least that's what I've been using.
A drip of dew hit the top of Kalida's ear. She stared at the mound under the tree outside of Poraman Creek, a turn away from their meadow. The burial flag for the Rhodes family stuck in the ground, marking the resting place of her father. Another day of Kalida feeling nothing but the emptiness inside her. She had no choice but to accept the death of Sir Rayner Rhodes, the man who was a hero to her. Her tacky throat struggled to swallow as her eyes burned with dried tears. The priest drew the runes into the dirt over her father's body as the masses watched. Men and women who had most likely known her father, but she knew little of them. The ones she recognized were few in numbers. The murmurs resumed, and Kalida. Hang on. The murmurs resumed, and Kalida looked up just in time for the crowd to start to disperse. Leaves crunched under her feet as she clung to the silent Dominic. It had taken everything in her to come here, to give her father a final party, especially after the sleepless night of wailing and crying. It had only been a few months since she saw his cold corpse in the archives of the palace, but it was all she saw lately. Nobles passed her with strained smiles and pointed eyes, practically biting at her for not showing even a single tear. If she could put on a show for them, she might have, but nothing was coming out. Kalita dug her fingers into Dominic's arm to stop the hiccups and wobbling lip as she stared at the burial site. It was time for her to stand beside it and say her piece. Her mother had already come up to say her goodbye before he was lowered, but now she had to convince everyone and herself that she was ready to say goodbye. A blur of blonde hair caught Kalita's attention as the couple walked up to the priest. "It'll only be a moment, then we can go," Dominic whispered comfortingly in her ear. Kalita gulped and nodded. She took the burial beads from the priest and clung to them as she turned to the people. "May we be prosperous like the deceased. Here lies the line of Sir Rayner Rhodes," Kalita hiccuped. The sharp pain stabbed into her chest until she was breathless. Still no tears, though. "The line of Sir Rayner Rhodes, a man of honor, dignity, and compassion. He will be missed." After a pause, Kalita placed the beads over the runes in the dirt, causing a hum and light green hued flash and settle. She stood there and stared at it before Dominic grabbed her hand and guided her away. The cold words out of her mouth conflicted with the little girl in her screaming for her papa. She could feel the gazes of startled people in the crowd. She guessed a few expected something from her when she had to say her piece. Not even a tear from the unfilial daughter. How disgraceful, a whisper from the crowd carried over. Kalita flinched as she stared at the ground while walking to the back of the crowd, until Dominic stopped and she had no choice but to look up. She peeked at him and followed his gaze. Then she saw her mother. The woman who was glaring her down like Kalita was the vilest piece of rubbish in her path. Cressida marched up to her daughter and slapped her across the face with a resounding clap. How dare you show your face here? I thought I gave you the door. I thought I gave you the door was the clear sign. You aren't a Rhodes anymore. Cressida spat at her estranged daughter. He's my father. I came to say goodbye, Kalita mumbled as she stared at her feet. Cressida scoffed, then let out a guffaw that turned into laughter. He's no father to a disowned child. Her mother's arms spread out as she twirled. Let's tell everyone what an evil, conniving brat you are. Cressida ran up to a crowd of people close by and got into their faces. You know who this is, right? Her voice echoed through the forest. A manic smile dawned her face. She's a killer. That's what she is. If anyone needs to be locked up, it should be her. Cressida backed off and swung around while hugging her arms. She twirled to Kalita and ripped at her hair, causing a sharp inhale. Oh, don't be like that, Cressida crooned. Her mother's shaky, withered hand caressed her face before her eyes flashed as if she had just realized what she was doing. Kalita breathed out as Cressida clutched herself and wrapped her shawl around her shoulders. She looked out into the crowd and marched off into the forest, leaving Kalita frozen. A dull ringing echoed in her ears until the crowd around her flooded in as they stopped and stared at the show. Sir Vaughn walked up to her with her daughter on his arm. May you know peace after this, Kalita. His eyes shone with unspoken emotions. Her eyes burned again to cry, and she suppressed the urge to hiccup. The faction knight looked around before giving a parchment to Kalita, asking her to look at it later when she was alone. Thank you, Sir Vaughn. Heloise frowned and stepped forward. Kalita clenched as the girl walked up to her and grasped her arms. Don't listen to your mother. You have every right to be here, Heloise said. Kalita's head whipped up in astonishment. Heloise hadn't been so friendly to her before. She nodded as her arms wrapped around Dominic. It was then she realized he was practically vibrating. Kalita, Kalita gazed up and blinked. Her betrothed stared at the spot her mother had disappeared to. He had grown at least an inch in height, and he was breathing out wafts of steam. Luckily, it was cold enough to be mistaken for the cold air. It was then she realized they had to go. Now. Kalita? Heloise's voice cut through her alarming thoughts. She realized she had been talking to the Vaughns. Sir Vaughn took one look at the couple and nodded a goodbye, dragging his protesting daughter behind him. Kalita closed her eyes and sent a prayer out for the celebration of her father's death, then guided Dominic down the path to the carriage. Goodbye, Papa. Dominic staggered the further they got away from the crowd until she had to practically push him into the carriage. After boarding, Dominic stayed splayed on the floor. Kalita tried to help him up, but with little success. Eventually, he gestures for her to sit down. With a sigh, Kalita seats herself and opens the parchment from Zervan as they took off. They told her about where the healers of the palace under the Queen found out about Raynor. In the ink, she read he had been poisoned and killed by the use of illegal weapons only used by supposedly a mythological group of assassins. Okay, I'm going to stop there because it apparently
It's another
cuts
scene.
to a scene with a tutor, and it's 11:58, so I have to go. But
That puts a
that was
whole
intense.
yeah.
It
Holy
was
Moses. Uh, yep. All right. So, real quick, let's see if we can't get our rolls and voting in.
that would actually be really cool if we could do
All right.
the prop because like you guys can finish it after I'm
Yeah.
gone, but like I
Mm-hmm.
have to go.
98.
All right. 98. A character has the chance to go back in time and fix a past mistake. What do they choose and what is the consequence? And 198. Do we have 198? We do. Y'all ain't gonna pick this one. A group of friends embarks on a winter adventure.
It's one of those.
Yep. All right, starting first lines.
51.
Oh, that's a high one.
I'm using the 100 night.
Ain't taking the risk.
It was Nick. Yeah, I'm not taking the risk.
Louise hated it when people said she was just a librarian.
Ooh.
And the second one for starting first line. I knew I was in trouble when Claire pushed the cloakroom door shut with a ripple of her shimmering gray dress and turned to me.
Oh.
All right, dialogue.
All right.
So you mean what we're probably gonna go with?
6.
Woo!
Oh boy. Oh no. You're about to get 3.
Mm-mm. Thankfully, no.
Oh,
Thankfully,
just
no.
2?
Just two.
Huh.
All right. Use this
Well, we have gotten
dialogue.
them narrowed down, so there's not a 206 anymore.
Yeah. Yep. All right. I've been trying to protect you, he said, almost pleading. You have no idea what you're getting into.
Hmm.
And 106. You were always the quiet one.
Huh.
All right. Here we go. In the comments, we've got 1. A character has the chance to go back in time and fix a past mistake. What do they choose and what is the consequence? 2. Concept. A group of friends embarks on a winter adventure. 3. Starting first line. Louise hated it when people said she was just a librarian. 4. Starting line. I knew I was in trouble when Claire pushed the cloakroom doors shut with a ripple of her shimmering gray dress and turned to me. Number 5. Use this dialogue. I've been trying to protect you, he said, almost pleading. You have no idea what you're getting into. And number 6. Use this dialogue. You were always the quiet one. All right. 4,
Okay, so we got
5, and 5.
2 5s.
1 4, 2 4s, because Char's got a 4. Hell yeah. Okay.
Dahlia's
Got you
got a
marked.
5.
All right. Do we have any more votes? Any more votes?
Starvos, vote.
Almost.
Okay, so what are we on, a tie?
We are not, but it is a very small margin. Um,
It's it's 3 to 2 with
it's 3 to
5.
2. Um, so All right. So
because
it's
Patrick is 5, Cash is 5, uh, Dahlia's 5,
Trisha and Shar are
Trisha's
4.
4.
And I voted for.
Julie doesn't have to vote if there's a majority.
That's not actually a rule. That's not actually a rule. You have
It's
voted in the
not
past
actually.
before there was a. That's not actually a rule.
Yep. It's
And
not a
Missy
rule.
hasn't voted either.
I never
Missy
vote.
hasn't voted either.
I never
You do
vote.
now and then. You do now and then.
Very, very rarely.
She votes when we need a tiebreaker.
Well, only
And
because
there
I'm.
for a while I was voting when we needed a tiebreaker.
Yeah.
So
It's. I feel it's unfair that I'm looking at the list and, I don't want to sway it. Oh, Stavros, real quick. Real quick.
4 or 5. 4 or 5.
Yeah, 4 or 5. Number 4 is starting line. I knew I was in trouble when Claire pushed the cloakroom door shut with a ripple of her shimmering gray dress and turned to me. And number 5 is dialogue. I've been trying to protect you, he said, almost pleading. You have no idea what you're getting into. That's what we're down to.
Because a vote for any other ones wouldn't have an impact.
Yep.
5.
5.
All right. I gotta go
5 it
then. I'm
is.
sorry, guys.
Love you,
I gotta
Shar.
go.
Bye,
I gotta go.
bye. Love
Bye.
you. All right. All right. So, it is 11 o'clock my time. We normally go about 2 hours. We had a small short start. We had a little bit of an intermission. And of course, this is the rough draft of Stavros's second book in her series. So you may just have to wait until it's finished and published to hear the rest of that. It's been a
Loretta?
long week, a very, very long week. I know Julie's been under the weather. Patrick has been emotionally dealing with some stuff, and I've had a long week as well. So we love you all. You know where to find us. Don't forget to join the newsletter if you're not already. Follow our YouTube channel. Make sure you're following and clicking all the notification bells and whistles on Hold My Pen Promptcast on Twitch, YouTube. Keep an eye out for the prompt video on YouTube and on TikTok tomorrow. Share them out. Tag 3 people on TikTok. Share them. Forward your
Let's make this
newsletter.
grow.
Yeah, forward your newsletter. By all means, forward the newsletter. Okay? And tell them that if they want to submit, send it to the Hold My Pen Promptcast email address that is in the thing. Remember, it is a 3 p.m. Central due line or due time on Saturdays. If you're going to be late, give us a heads up so that way we know to keep an eye out for it. And so that sounds like a good deal for the week. Remember, April 26th, 2025 is our new one. I've been trying to protect you, he said, almost pleading. You have no idea what you're getting into.
All right. Thanks for coming, everybody, and we will see you next week. Remember, be brave, be bold, but always stay humble. Have a great week. Nobody end up with food poisoning. It sucks. All right. Later, Gators.
Bye.